Hi, I'm Dan Francis, Head of Sales and Partnerships for RSL Awards for the UK and the Republic of Ireland. Great to be here with MLC and Paul. Paul, tell us what's happening at MLC in the next term.
So from September, we plan to release the Acoustic Guitar syllabus on our blended learning platform. We're bringing vocals on, music production, podcasting, and I wonder if you could just talk a little bit about the syllabus content of those platforms.
Yeah, certainly. The Acoustic Guitar syllabus came out in 2019, and it's sort of a continuation of all of the other syllabus we've got in. So those of you used to using sort of guitar, bass, drums, piano, will see it's a similar sort of thing where there's a book that contains everything you need for the exam. So there are tracks in there, the backing track, and then the full audio. You've got the notation and the tab. And then you've got the option of doing the 3 pieces and then the technical side of the unseen tests, or you can do the performance certificate, which is 5 pieces. The unique thing about the acoustic guitar syllabus is that in the earlier grades, there are duet parts. So there's no backing track, and that means that the teacher and the candidate can work together. So those are some of the tracks, and then there are others that have backing tracks that the student will perform by themselves. That then leads on to the higher grades, where you've got the session style, which is playing with the backing track, and then the acoustic specialist, which are solo tracks, completely unaccompanied, where it's obviously the candidate gets to demonstrate all the techniques that you would want to see from a really quite sophisticated acoustic player. The sort of the tracks we've got in there, we've got everything from sort of Django Reinhardt, Bon Jovi, Robert Johnson, Colin Bailey bass. There's our usual fare of a wide range of composers and songwriters represented, and of course we continue to have the option of being able to do 3 choice pieces.
Right.
Just a little note on the tech exercises. You have obviously the choice of sight, reading, and improvisation up to grade 5, and grade 6, 7, and 8. There are quick study pieces, which you choose one of those, and there's a combination of improvisation and sight reading involved in that, and they're in particular styles, so you get to choose one of 3 styles to perform in.
And is that, I take it that that's similar to drum and bass guitar in the sense that you've got a stylistic study within your technical exercises that determines which quick study piece you're...
Exactly that. It's exactly the same format, yeah, because it's a format that works really well with guitar, bass and drums. Obviously, if you're an electric guitarist, we want to make sure things are as diverse as possible, and you might be an electric guitarist and an acoustic guitarist, so you can be sort of a jack of all trades, or you might want to specialise in one direction. So we want to make sure there's a level of consistency and coherence all the way through.
Brilliant. And how is that model mirrored within the vocal syllabus? Or is it a similar methodology?
It is a similar methodology, yes. What you'll find with the vocal syllabus is that we don't have any gender designation, and the really quite exciting thing about the vocal syllabus is that we allow you to perform the song in any key. So a key that suits your voice as a musician. So they're published in the syllabus in their original key. So you might immediately look at sort of grade 1 vocals and go, goodness me, F sharp major, 6 sharps, that's really quite complicated. Actually, that's the original key, but obviously you as a singer are learning it orally, probably, and you would drop it down to 3rd, up to 4th in order to make sure that the track suits your own vocal range. And what we've done to help with that is a couple of things. First of all, in the book, next to each track, we give you the lowest note and the highest note, so the range of the song, so you can pick from that way, and then obviously you can drop it up into the right key. Yeah. We also provide QR codes so you can download MIDI version of the backing tracks as well, so you can drop them into a digital audio workstation to transpose the backing track into a key that works as well. So, like with everything else, we want to make sure that when you get the book, you've got everything you need to prepare for the exam.
So would you advocate that, in particular, if somebody's doing the vocals, that they should look at music production? Because I personally feel that it's a great way for musicians to get feedback on what they're actually outputting, rather than what they think they're actually playing.
Yeah.
You know, and given the technical aspect of what you've just spoken about, maybe the vocal student also will have needing a workstation?
I think so. I would recommend that any student looking to work in the industry or looking to engage in the music industry in 2022 ought to know the way around a digital audio workstation, both the domestic version, some of the free sequencing software that you can get from all the big companies are all excellent, and you can certainly do at least the first 3 or the first 4 music production grades using that. But also being able to go into a recording studio and know how to use a desk, know which microphones to use, know what connectors to use, and know how to edit tracks and to tune tracks in terms of reverb and EQ and so on. Because I think one of the biggest things is being able to produce a really good demo. And actually, if you're a guitarist and you're a singer-songwriter, then being able to lay down the tracks and record them and edit them effectively. As a singer, being able to do the same sort of thing. And of course, any musician being in the studio, knowing what's going to make your own part sound better as part of the mix, and knowing the different techniques involved in doing that is really important. And it also means that you've got the ability to do it yourself, but also to talk to a studio engineer in the way that you want to make sure that everything can sound as good as you possibly want it.
Yeah.
So the music production course, the syllabus, is made up of 3 elements basically. There's a 60% creative composition task, which is pretty self-explanatory, and that's submitted to us and we mark it through an online portal. And then there's the theory and the history side of it, where you're learning about the history of music production, but also the theory behind how all the different bits work. And then the really important part is, the third part is the listening side of things, where you are developing the same sorts of listening skills that you would expect to develop when you're learning to play a traditional instrument, if you like. Because fundamentally, the best thing that a musician has is their ears.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. And just back to vocals. One of the questions that we get most frequently is about free choice pieces. So, and I realise that can be quite a complex area, but it can also be quite a simple area, can't it? In the sense that, then you can talk us through, like, the tracks need to be a certain length, a certain starting note, finishing note. So, or have I just opened up?
Oh no! Well, it's not. It can feel like a can of worms, because it feels like it's a free-for-all in terms of free choice pieces. But there are a number of things that we've done to try and make it as straightforward as possible. So, firstly, we have really clear guidance on what is acceptable and what isn't acceptable. We also have we have the benchmarking criteria is published in the sample pack. So if you're referring to that, you can look at a different track and say, okay, well it meets these criteria, so it's probably going to be acceptable. The other thing that we've done is we've got pre-approved free choice pieces. So this comes in 2 forms. It could be a track from any of the UK accredited exam boards. So if you're entering for a grade 3 vocals exam with Rock School, if it's grade 3 vocals from another syllabus, that's automatically going to be perfectly acceptable. And we've also got a dynamic list on our website of tracks and links where you can get hold of the sheet music and the backing track, so that if you can have a look at that, and it's growing all the time, so you can look at these are sort of tried and tested tracks which we know that the examiners have come across a lot, and we know that a lot of our experienced singers are using a lot. So that's another really good place to look. And of course, we do have the option of you can have your tracks approved by a member of the team as well by submitting them in advance of the exam. And for a fee, we'll give you feedback and say, yes, that meets the criteria, or that doesn't meet the criteria.
An important growth area, I suppose, across the whole creative industry sector is people producing their own podcasts and blogs. So could you just talk us through those pathways? I think they're exciting, and we're excited about delivering them. But how do you go about writing a credible pathway for something that, as is always the case, might seem easy to do? But actually, when you get started, it's quite difficult.
Great question. RSL Awards has always taken pride in formalising the informal and providing accreditation routes where they haven't existed previously. That's in our DNA. It's what happened when we first started right in 1991. So we've continued that journey. And what we have is debut through to grade 8, podcasting and blogging, 2 separate syllabuses. The core principle is that you produce a thing. And that thing is 100% assessed by us, so it's submitted as a piece of coursework. And that thing is either a podcast or a blog of a theme of your choice, and it's how well you communicate as an individual on screen or in the recording. It's how well you use the technology to make sure that it all is balanced effectively. And obviously those skills become more and more sophisticated as you go up through the grades. And then the third one is the subject matter itself, the actual art of planning the podcast or the vlog and telling the story so that it hangs together in a coherent way. And like with everything else, what we've worked with, we worked with a number of external consultants to make sure that we knew these were the sorts of things that were relevant for the industry, and that we brought the expertise of knowing that that's kind of an entry level, that's an intermediate level, that's an advanced level. And then we just broke that down into the 9 phases from day to grade 8. Brilliant.
Dan, thanks ever so much for taking the time to support and coming along. It's always a pleasure to see you, spend time with you. And you know, our efforts and endeavours with Marshall, Metal, and indeed with our listeners, you guys are really important to us, really important.
Thank you, it's great to be here, and we're really keen to work with proactive, innovative organisations that are wanting to provide the highest quality opportunities to students. So the fact that you've got this partnership with Marshall, Metal, and all these sort of online learning coupled with all the face-to-face learning, that we're able to be there as the accreditation partners, people that can certificate the work that they're doing with you. It's a fantastic thing for us to be able to do, and it's obviously brilliant to be able to come here to